Good evening, everyone. This is Jeff, Astroscoop, Deep Dive Astrology Coaching. And see, Carolyn's here. Happy Friday. Happy Friday indeed. This is Jeff with Astroscoop. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is my normal time now for the weekly live streams astrology here on Astroscoop on YouTube at Astroscoop 3801. So right now I'm keeping it for 8 p.m. And the last couple weeks, there have been more people that came in later, somewhere around 8:30 p.m. or even later. So this seems to work a little better for the time zone. So for now, I will keep it for 8 o'clock. But we have one person here, and we're going to wait a few minutes to see if other people trail in. And I'm looking outside, and still extremely cold here in the East Coast. And I mentioned last week we've had back-to-back storms, which is typical of this winter in New England. But this week we had a little reprieve, a little break, which is so nice. And so we still have snow and ice, but we didn't have any major storms this week. So we're going on many days now, and we have 40 degrees coming tomorrow. And then, today is February 21st, 2025. February is a short month. We only have one more week, and we're only a month away, just a tad over a month away from spring, from Aries. So tonight is starts the last cycle of the zodiac, which is Pisces. And we've talked about, this year we've talked about every sign and every period. And last week I talked about the Aquarius Pisces cusp, which is definitely one of the most interesting and complex cusps in astrology, combining Aquarius and Pisces, air and water. So we talked all about that. So if you haven't seen that, please check that out from last week, from February 14th. And I also have my latest Aquarius video from last week as well, which that's my last Aquarius video probably for a while. And you can check those out. And as always, you can go into my channel here on YouTube. You have to sign in to subscribe. Sign in and click personalized or all. When you subscribe, then just go on my profile and you'll see my playlists. So that's an easy way to find something. I know that I have new viewers on my old videos, and people are telling me that they're finding my videos by doing a search for water signs or a search for Scorpio or something like that. Then when they come to my page, they see my water sign playlist, or they'll see Pisces videos, Cancer videos, Scorpio videos, air signs, earth signs. So whatever you're looking for, I most likely have a playlist that's specific. And if you're looking to watch live streams from the past, if you want to rewatch a live stream or you missed one, you can go onto the Astroscoop or Astrology Livestream playlist that's on there. Or just click live. You'll see the button for videos, which are all the videos, and then you see the live, which is the list of all the live videos, the live streams that we've been doing for a while now. All right, so it's almost 5 minutes after 8 Eastern Standard Time, and happy Pisces. We are now in full Pisces mode. Well, we're still on the cusp technically for about another day or so. So for tonight and tomorrow, we're still on the Aquarius Pisces cusp. But we will talk about what it means to be a true Pisces and what it means to be born from February 23rd to March 2nd or 3rd, and depending on the degrees in the year. So February 23 to March 2nd or 3rd, you are a true early Pisces. And people born this week the ruler is Neptune. And, god of the sea, with a trident. And people born this week are also co-ruled by Neptune as well, because of the decan Pisces 1. So it's all Neptune. So like a month ago, we talked about Aquarius ruled by Uranus, and the first week was co-ruled by Uranus. And these folks are all Pisces, and they're all Neptune. And Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, which equates in the astrological wheel, equates to the 12th house over here, right before the ascendant. So Pisces, Neptune, 12th house, all that. And one thing I want to mention before we get into all this is if you have your natal chart done, and of course I can do that for you, and I can do a report or a reading for you through text, email, phone, or video chat. Any or all of the above. I'm in the process of trying to come up with some new pricing for the spring and summer for some of my services. And so if you're interested in anything, just let me know what you're interested in, and I can craft a little project and pricing for you. And my pricing is incredibly affordable, probably to my detriment, but that's fine. But I am trying to use some different techniques here each time I'm on a different sign. I'm using different techniques from the year prior or 2 years prior, and trying to keep things fresh while continuing to learn and sharpen my cosmic skills, if you will, sort of thing. But the 12th house relates to Pisces and Neptune. And people that have planets in the 12th house in your natal chart, even if you don't have any Pisces planets, will take on a very strong Neptunian or Piscean vibration, depending on what planets those are in the house. And they will often take on a Piscean vibration behind the scenes and in a very quiet and subtle way that the majority of the public won't see, but your private, the people that you're close to and most private with or most intimate with, will see that sort of thing. So whenever we mention a sign, we also want to talk about the house that it relates to in your natal chart, because the 12 signs and 12 houses are all connected. So happy Friday, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with the content, please. I know people are coming in and out, but if you like what you see, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. You can also donate to me via Venmo, which is Astroscoop, capital A and S. You can donate Venmo or PayPal. And if you have any questions about that, you can please comment on this video or just comment on my latest video somewhere in my channel, and I will see that immediately. So if you ever want to donate, it doesn't matter what the amount, any amount is appreciated. It's not about the amount, it's just about the intention and the thought. So I appreciate that, anything. And also, I just appreciate the positive feedback, comments, or thoughts that some people have given me about this channel. That's worth way more than financial or physical, money or resources, because that's good. That's just good, positive energy, and I really appreciate that. So that's worth its weight in gold, much more than actual money. But donating anyway, psychologically or via Venmo, is always appreciated. So tonight we're going to talk all about Pisces. We're going to finish out this month, coming right up until spring, and then we're going to enter Aries. But Pisces is the last zodiac sign and the most soulful, as I put in the text. And there's a lot of reasons. Why Pisces is, in some ways, Pisces is a very transparent sign in terms of its characteristics and traits. But it's also the most complex because it is literally the last sign, or it's the dustbin of the horoscope with all the 11 signs before it. So you could say that a Pisces person born in this lifetime chose to be a Pisces because they had never been a Pisces before in other lifetimes. So if someone chooses to be born between February 19th or 20th and around March 19th or 20th this year, and they're Pisces, then most likely they are coming here to learn some Pisces lessons. And they didn't have that before. So, and that's something, reincarnation and all that, that's something that Pisces really vibes with and relates to. Even the most practical Pisces people still have a little bit of a mysterious or occult bent in their interests, usually. Almost every Pisces person or major Pisces in their chart that I've met have always had that somewhere in their lives. But tonight we're going to talk about Pisces 1, and we're going to talk about the transits and some celebrities. And then over here, I drew up this is the whole new moon chart, and I tried to do that a little bigger so that you could see that instead of just having the chart like this. This is tonight's chart. This is the 8 p.m. New York Standard. So for a baby being born, this is his or her chart, the transits. And then this is going to be the new moon next week, 6 days on the 27th. It's a very powerful new moon. I was just watching a couple astrology videos of astrology people talking about the shifts with all this Pisces energy, and specifically the new moon that's coming in the next week after the full moon from last week. So now we have the full moon, we're waning now, and we are waning in Sag, the moon in Sag right now tonight, which is a quarter. And then we're going into Capricorn, Aquarius, and then when it goes into Pisces on the 27th in the evening, it will conjoin the sun, which is now in Pisces. And right now we have the sun at 3 degrees of Pisces. On the new moon, it will be 9. But right now we're still at 3, which is a cusp degree. So Pisces 1, the first decan. Now, I've watched a lot of Pisces in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I've watched a lot of Pisces. I've consumed a lot of Pisces content from astrologers and the like from the last couple of months, but also from years ago too. And it's interesting how times have changed now with shorts and reels and people on X and Instagram and TikTok, how people do this more short form content or more outrageous content or silly content, goofy content, or talking about all the signs, the dark side of all the signs or negative signs, things like that, which is very interesting because that wasn't prevalent 15 or 20 years ago. And it's just really interesting to see how astrologers of all ages take this ancient wisdom and make it, put their own spin on it and make it fresh. And I think there's room for all sorts of seriousness with it and also sorts of silliness. But Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Pisces is soul. So if you think about, we talked about Aquarius being the universal sign. Aquarius has a strong knowledge base, and Aquarians say their phrase is "I know." And Aquarians just know what they know. It's like universal wisdom or universal intuition. And when we consider the mental strength of Aquarius, Pisces takes that mental detachment and creates and makes it more personal and more intimate for their fellow human beings. Whereas Aquarius is compassionate on a group or global scale, Pisces is more sympathetic or compassionate on a small scale, whether it's a very small group or it's one-on-one with a person, an animal, the earth, or themselves. Now, Pisces, as we're going to talk about, All astrologers know this. Pisces is one of those signs, and probably the most sign, that has such highs. There's a large amount of highs and lows in a planet that has Pisces. And part of the reason it's almost like Pisces can feel ecstatic highs, but can really plummet to lows. Now, if someone in their life has, issues, if someone had bipolar disorder or something like that, that would be different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just the spiritual and the emotional and watery energy of Pisces. Pisces is a sponge and an empath to the 9th degree, and Pisces the pure Pisces energy picks up on everything. Now, that can be a gift and a curse, because much of what we pick up in this world and other worlds can be toxic or unhealthy, and can drain you, and can drain a Pisces person. So Pisces feeling the highs and Pisces feeling the lows is Pisces is very susceptible and vulnerable to those energies around them, the energies of the earth, the energies of the weather, the energies of animals and people around them. Pisces are inevitably going to tune into, whether it's positive or negative, going to tune into the energies and the vibrations of everyone around them, in a much more poignant way than any other sign. And that doesn't mean other signs aren't intuitive or psychic or anything like that. Every sign has a certain potential, depending on their mode. But Pisces, being the last sign, and in the winter, Pisces is the most hidden water sign, because Cancer is the first water sign, which is in summer. Scorpio, we talked about in the fall, in November, late October, November, where still, the animals were out and we had Halloween, and not everything really had gone underground yet. And then we go into Sagittarius and Capricorn, things go underground, Aquarius, and then of course we finish the deep cold winter in Pisces, which is weird because right now it feels so cold and gloomy and icy, at least here. I know, like, if you're in Florida, it doesn't. In other areas of the world, it doesn't. But at least here it does. And much of the seaboard is just very windy and cold and raw and nasty. But yet, we're only weeks away from the Aries energy, and we can see that the sun energy is much stronger, even in Pisces, than it was in Aquarius, or when it was 2 months ago in Capricorn. And just think, or even just 6 weeks ago, just think of 5 or 6 weeks ago. When you're driving at 4:30 or 5 here now, while I'm driving into the sun, it's so much brighter and intense, even though it's so cold out. So Pisces is the spiritual fishes. So Pisces is the two fishes swimming upstream or downstream, or one's going up and one's going down. So Pisces is the true sign of duality. Now, when we think of duality, most astrologers will mention Gemini because of the twins. And yes, Gemini is very dual, and Geminis can be very much two people and very changeable. But there's no one in the zodiac that's more changeable on a personal level with their emotions and who they are than Pisces. And that, whether that's conscious or unconscious, depends on the Pisces individual. But Pisces is the last sign. Pisces is the sign of, great highs, but also sorrow and sadness and melancholy. And I think part of the reason why Pisces people can feel things so deeply is because, again, in a past life, they haven't been a Pisces, and now they come into this life choosing to be the sign of the fishes and to tune into all these energies. And I mentioned on X a couple weeks ago, no other sign has more of an ability to heal or help people than Pisces. No one. Yet no one has more of an ability to possibly deceive others or mislead others more than Pisces as well. And that's a danger with Neptune, is deception, either self-deception with themselves or deceiving others, again, whether that's conscious or unconscious. And Pisces can very much be an emotional chameleon or an emotional manipulator of their environment, because Pisces effortlessly tunes into everything. It's effortless. And if any of you are Pisces, or you have any planets in Pisces, you'll know that whatever planet that is in Pisces is, there's some things about it that are very easy, and there's always going to be some tough lessons with sorrow and hurt, sadness, melancholy, or boundaries. A Pisces planet, choosing a Pisces planet is all about boundaries. If you don't have boundaries with yourself or other people, that Pisces planet is inevitably going to get you into trouble in personal relationships, or any kind of relationships, but especially personal relationships. If you don't have boundaries between you and another person, or you and another group, or work sort of thing. So Pisces one is a spiritual fishes. The true Pisces people that are all Neptune, no matter how practical they are, some Pisces people are very technically gifted and very good with details, which almost sounds like Virgo. They can almost be Virgoan in that way. I took classes from a Pisces astrologer years ago, and he had Virgo in his chart, and he also had 2 Virgo parents. And he said that he was a very meticulous Pisces. He said he was very creative, and he had a good fantasy life, but that he was very meticulous with his fantasies. And I think he did some writing or something. He, as a hobby, I think he was going to write something. But so Pisces can be very spiritual, no matter how practical or straight-laced they are. There's always going to be a bent of spirit and youthfulness, especially to people born this week. There is a spark and a youthfulness to early Pisces energy that's very, very unique. And it's not similar to a youthfulness like other signs, like Aries or Gemini, or maybe Sagittarius. It's more of a spiritual, idealistic excitement that Pisces feels when they figure something out about someone or something and find a way to heal or help. When something hits their inside into their beliefs, when something aligns with their beliefs, Pisces is I believe. So when something aligns with their beliefs, it really stirs them up inside, really stirs the Pisces up more than any other sign. So that spirituality is always present, especially with early Pisces. But most likely with any Pisces planet, there's going to be an inkling there, an attraction to occult knowledge or things or information that's a little offbeat, or spiritual, metaphysical, that sort of thing, even similar to kind of what we saw with Aquarius. But Pisces can be very restless and inconstant. So Pisces being flowing water, the fish is just swimming. It's mutable, it's flowing water, it's not rigid. It's a sign, there's no stopping of movement. So Pisces is always moving. That doesn't mean they're always physically moving, but emotionally, and their fantasy life is always, whether it's mental, emotional, psychological, their fantasy life and their creativity and their imagination is always moving. So they are there. It's a sign of devotion. Early Pisces energy is devotion. Now, whether that's to a cause, certain things that they're idealistic about in life, it could be to animals, could be to people, could be like to helping out the disadvantaged, or homeless animals or battered women or the poor people, or something like that. So people born in this week having the spiritual bent, having the youthful energy, but it's emotional youthful energy, can put a lot of good energy and devotion into helping people and helping causes. And Pisces is not necessarily ambitious. That's not a word that's usually associated with Pisces. Depends on what house is in, and of course some of the other aspects. But Pisces has feeling the highs and the lows of things. Pisces can be very devoted and driven on an emotional level, but also can crash and feel kind of stuck or lazy, maybe even if things don't stir their emotions, or they get discouraged by things that don't work out, whether it's a relationship that doesn't work out or a job or something. The Pisces can get discouraged very easily hurt. But that devotion means they're mostly into non-material values. So most of their values are non-material. That doesn't mean they don't enjoy, the good things in life or money or, things like that. But they're first and foremost, regardless of their lifestyle or their resources, there will be a non-material attraction to like some of those things I mentioned before that are metaphysical or occult based. And those interests are always there especially for early Pisces. But it goes for any Pisces planet. Now, if you're born here on the 23rd, obviously that is going to be about 5 degrees of Pisces. That could be still considered, some astrologers would still consider that a cusp degree. So if you're the very first day of the first decan, at least according to this system, you could still be a cusp. If you feel like you have Aquarius traits or you have other Aquarius in your chart, you might be tapping into that. But most likely from the 24th, 25th, 26th, all the way up to March 2nd or 3rd is all Neptune. So it's all double Pisces and Neptune influence. So with that devotion and everything, people born this week relate to a star, a bright star, in the constellation of Pegasus. So Pegasus, the horse, and there is loyalty there. There's honor, and I was reading it's a very, very bright star, and it relates to owls, and I believe swans, which is interesting. So early Pisces energy, these degrees, probably from 5 to about 10, maybe 4 or 5 degrees to about 10 degrees, is a bright star that relates to owl wisdom. So it's owl symbology or mythological owl, owl template, or a swan template, or winged creatures, which have their own sense of youthfulness and freedom and wisdom. And that is early Pisces. So Pisces, like I mentioned at the beginning, Pisces is the most soulful sign. Well, what does that mean? Soulful can mean a lot of different things. You can listen to a singer, right? You can listen to your favorite song and say, wow, that man or woman is so soulful, the way they sing. Whether that's a pop song or a rhythm and blues song or a jazz song or something. There's just something about their emotion in their voice that's soulful. But also, Pisces just, for people that have Pisces planets, you will just know that there's certain things in life that you just get. Now, what does that mean? It's hard to verbalize. Pisces is not a sign that's highly verbal. That doesn't mean Pisces people aren't well spoken or can't express themselves. Pisces is very expressive. But Pisces, unlike Gemini or Sagittarius or Virgo, the other mutable signs, Pisces is emotionally more cryptic, emotionally more mysterious. And so all the thoughts and the emotions and feelings are sometimes very hard to put into words or to put into a medium to other people, that so people can understand their Pisces, understand how the Pisces energy works. And when you have Pisces, it, like I said, it tunes into everything, and you just get certain things. And charts, when I've done charts or readings for people that don't have any Pisces or 12th house or major Neptune aspects, there's definitely something missing in their profile. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything bad. But I always like to say, as an astrologer, I've been saying this, since my 20s, that I think every chart needs a little bit of Pisces, just a little bit. Pisces can be tough to live with. It can be a struggle. Pisces can feel the highs, but also feel the lows of relationships that don't work out, or feeling betrayed or taken advantage of. Pisces is a sign that can easily be taken advantage of because of their generosity. And so that's why boundaries are so important, especially with early Pisces people. But this bright star, as positive as it is with some of these creatures, the owl, it can be a sign of drowning. Now, I don't think that's literal drowning, although I know that some of the astronomers and astrologers back in the day, when they were translating texts, they would refer to something in their village or community where someone was born at the week and someone drowned. But I see it as more as a metaphor. How does a Pisces person drown? Well, Pisces are naturally attracted to things that are not always healthy and positive. What do I mean by that? Gambling, drugs, alcohol, possibly too much sex, taking things to the extreme. There's nothing wrong with indulging and enjoying life, but taking things to the extreme to the point of where the Pisces is not clear, doesn't have clarity about their life and their decisions, and then their judgment suffers in their work or in their life. And that's how I kind of see the drowning. But it also relates to occult interests. I mentioned that before. The occult is also related to this star. Or the early Pisces energy coming off the Aquarius cusp. I think it's a little bit of that residue of Aquarius too, because it's the constellation of Aquarius. But even a true Pisces planet that's early can have that watery influence and the occult. So I think for a Pisces person to avoid drowning, metaphorically, not literally, but to avoid drowning in some way, you just have to have boundaries, and you have to know your own emotions or know your own body. So self-awareness is really important. Some people can have a couple drinks and be fine. Maybe a Pisces thinks they can and they can't. It's moderation. But Pisces people should always be careful of overindulgence with substances, and that is related very much, goes way back in astrology to Neptune. So Pisces is it might be the most emotional sign, and sometimes Pisces show it and are very transparent about it, especially about disappointment and sadness. You can usually sense that very easily from a Pisces, but it's not always apparent. It's not always easy, because Pisces will also build up defenses. Don't forget, Pisces is the last sign. Pisces kind of has the traits of every other sign, and maybe some of the gifts or strengths. So Pisces people can be very good at hiding their intentions or what they're feeling and putting up defenses. But it can often hide a soft underbelly that they don't want damaged, or they don't want to be hurt anymore. But very emotional, and it comes off of the Aquarius knowing. So in Aquarius, obviously Aquarius people are emotional and have feelings just like everyone else, but Aquarius have a knowing and a compassion that's more mental and more universal. So Pisces takes that and uses that on a more intimate level, and or with themselves. And especially Pisces usually have a very, very good relationship to creatures or animals as well. Usually can have a very good kind of psychic connection with animals. So the lesson here for early Pisces is to balance out. Now, by that, I mean the opposite is Virgo 1, which we'll be talking about in 6 months. And Virgo 1 is the builder. So early Virgo is Mercury, and it's more about building systems or building order, building a step-by-step methodology for your daily life and routine, and kind of keep things in order and keep things safe so that things are not chaotic. So that's why Pisces can be philosophical and loving, or their life can be very chaotic. And Pisces people, especially early Pisces people, can often be attracted to unpredictable, not necessarily dangerous situations, not necessarily adrenaline, but Pisces can be attracted to the thrill, emotional thrill or emotional excitement of affairs or events or activities that have a little bit of unpredictability or maybe a little bit of emotional danger to it. Pisces likes that. So, but Pisces often doesn't have that balance or the grounding. I always say it's good for a chart to have a little Pisces, but it's also good for that chart, for that Pisces chart or that Pisces planet, to have something else to balance it out, have some air to think clearly, have some fire for some confidence, or have some earth for some grounding. Because if there's a lot of Pisces in the chart and there's not a balance of the elements, it can be very tough for that Pisces person to not have a chaotic sort of trajectory in their relationships. I knew a woman once in my 20s who lived with several roommates. And so the house, there was like 5 or 6 people in the house. So they had a board and they would put everybody's birthdays on there. So that's how I got to know all the people's birthdays in her house, because I would go over there and I would see the birthday this month is this person. And in that household, they had 3 Pisces people that were born between late February and the 3rd week in March. 3 different Pisces people. And what ended up happening in that household was all 3 of those Pisces people ended up burglarizing or stealing from others, which is a very odd thing. And I don't know if it was something that they it was like contagious and they attracted each other, or if they knew each other. But I remember someone saying to me, someone stole something from me. And I said, oh, what sign were they? And she said, oh, I think they were Pisces. So what does that mean? I don't know. I'm not saying Pisces are thieves, but Pisces energy can be very deceptive when it's not stable and it doesn't play by rules or have a routine, or are not in touch with reality. Yeah. So 3 different Pisces at different occasions, stealing and lying and deceiving people in that house. I thought that was a very odd thing. I personally had a friend in my teenage years who stole from me. He was a Pisces. So I just make that point. I'm not saying that Pisces are thieves, but when you have Pisces in the chart, it behooves you to be mature and to learn how to use that Pisces energy and to direct it into activities that are creative and that don't take advantage of other people or situations where you can deceive and make your own reality or make your own fantasy, especially if that's been done to the Pisces person and now they're doing it to other people or victimizing. So Pisces has a danger of that, of whatever's been done to them, they may unconsciously through lack of will or lack of a healthy ego or grounding, they might do that to other people. So I mentioned the burglary and the thievery with Pisces because Pisces people, Pisces energy and Pisces planets can take the easy way out and not stand up for what's right and do the wrong thing, just out of weakness or, like I said, being too passive. So it's very important for Pisces planets to find something else in the chart to align with for strength, so that Pisces can give selflessly or be altruistic to a cause, like I said, like help homeless people, help homeless animals, help children, the disadvantaged, in a good way, whether it's through your job, whether you get paid for it or you volunteer, or you foster cats or foster dogs or something, put it into something like that, where you're putting all that hard energy into something, to something or a creature that really needs your help, that you're not going to be involved in something that's deceptive, like a weird or toxic relationship. So that's another thing. Pisces can be, there's no other sign like Pisces that are attracted to toxic people. Now, you know how they say in psychology that some women like the bad boys, right? Or some men like the bad girls. Well, I don't think that's true. I'm not a psychologist, but I think it's because we have unresolved trauma that gets inflicted, it gets projected, and we see excitement in another person when that is triggered. And that's why we're attracted to it. And we're often attracted to it not for healthy reasons. So, and it could be sexually attracted, it could be psychologically, emotionally, but it won't last. It's not long lasting, and it will burn out quick. So Pisces can be attracted to, the strays, not only the dog or cat stray that comes around for some water and a quick bite to eat, but the human strays. So early Pisces people have to be very, very careful of that. So let's talk about the transits. We mentioned this last week. We have Neptune. We have so much Pisces energy going right now. I mean, we have the Sun, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node all in Pisces. I mean, this is unprecedented, the amount of Pisces energy we have in the chart right now. And all this Pisces is ruled by Neptune and Pisces. So if Neptune was in Aries and we had all this Pisces, that would take on a different flavor. But because of all this Pisces, we bring it back to this Neptune and Pisces right here. There is the stellium that's coming in Pisces. So it's all Pisces energy, and we have Neptune at 28 conjunct the North Node, which I mentioned last week. So there's a lot of potential in the world right now to increase our spirituality. And some of the sad things, the dark things that are coming to light that have happened in the world or are happening, a lot of it's coming to light so that it can be released. And really, as hard as it is to believe certain things that happen in the world, it is a good thing. Like, sometimes you see something and then you can't unsee it. That can hurt and that can sting. But ultimately, I think it's a good thing because it's a release. Doesn't mean you have to be attached to it. You can see it for what it is, extract what you need to extract to be a healthy person, and then move on. So you don't have to be attached to it. But I think it's good to keep yourself rooted in what's in the truth of what's going on. And Saturn in Pisces at 19. So we're almost in the last decan period of Pisces for Saturn, which is really good because Saturn was retrograde there, just hanging out in kind of sad Pisces there for a while. And that was really slowing down Pisces planets too. For people that were having Pisces planets anywhere between 10 and 19, it could have been making you lethargic, health problems, and problems, restriction with women, because Pisces is a feminine sign. Or it could be restriction with men as well because of Saturn. but more likely would have been a feminine influence because of Pisces. But that's conjunct Mercury at 13 of Pisces. So Mercury is right in the middle. And again, like I mentioned last week, Mercury in Pisces is direct and stationing. So Mercury conjunct Saturn in Pisces is very serious, but it's also very restless. That's a seriously restless, but also a time to get seriously creative. This period, these next 3 weeks, if anyone has a Pisces planet at all, and I know some of my peeps that I like on social media, Supernova Meditation Project, I think she has Pisces. Space Hotel, who I mentioned last week, the British musician that I like, he is a double Pisces. He's a new moon baby. And I know there's others. So for those of you that have major Pisces in your chart, even if you have Venus, Mars rising, you can tap into this energy. This is a time to really do extra time, extra quiet, extra yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, gentle martial arts, whatever it is. But get in touch with this Neptune energy. But do it with a clear mind. I would say, that's just my suggestion. Don't do it under the influence of alcohol or drugs. If you want to use natural herbs like valerian root or natural herbs to calm yourself down, that's good. Or ashwagandha, that's a good one for calming and stress. You can do that, but this is a good time to tune into all that Pisces energy ruled by Neptune and Pisces to dream. Just dream about what kind of really fun fantasy stuff you want to do this year, whether it's a hobby, a new business you want to start on the side that's not just practical, and something that's not centered around money. This is all spiritual and non-material. This is emotional. This is personal. This isn't a Steinman in Taurus. This isn't Capricorn. It's not about money, material success, power. It's about more of your own personal creativity and your inner satisfaction. That's what this is about for Pisces, but it's also about for anyone that has a Pisces planet. And if you have Virgo planets that are opposing any of these Pisces, if you have middle of the road Virgo planets or you're a late Virgo, then you're going to feel this push-pull from all this Pisces energy. You can still tap into it, but because you're Virgo, it's not naturally aligned. You're going to have to work harder to integrate that creative Pisces, I don't want to follow a routine kind of energy. Whereas Virgo's like, hey, I feel a little more comfortable following routine. That's making me feel a little uncomfortable being so creative and flowy and loosey-goosey, woo, kind of thing. So this is a really good time to just tune into all that. And as I mentioned before, the star is called Deneb Adig. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I think I mentioned that last year. And that's the tail of the swan. So that's the constellation relating to the owl and the swan. So those are interesting things. Pisces also can, mythologically, Pisces can also be equates to whales. So often astrologers will think, sometimes you meet a Pisces person that's a little more stronger or aggressive than an average Pisces that's more sensitive or introverted. And often astrologers will refer to that person as a whale type of Pisces instead of a fish. So you have like your fish Pisces that's a little more passive, and then you have a whale Pisces that's much more comfortable with being expressing more of their intense emotions or their likes kind of thing. And they don't seem as traditionally Pisces. And that's more so going towards spring as we talk about later Pisces. We'll talk about that. Very, very different than the early Pisces. But these early Pisces people, you have your sun right now, you're getting your solar return this week, which should help your health and your energy. And if you're having any problems with your health lately, like colds, flus, COVID or anything, really, really, it's a really good time to double down and take care of yourself, extra sleep and everything, especially for Pisces. Pisces can get drained so badly in life emotionally and physically. And Pisces can often have a lot of nagging kind of little health problems. So it's important for Pisces people to be careful with the drinking and all that stuff. And, you know, not to be a party pooper, but just, you know, kind of moderate that. All right. So let's also want to mention for this star, there's 2 celebrities that have passed, or 3, that had this moon, this Pisces moon. So we had Prince, Elvis Presley, and Audrey Hepburn. All were born with the moon in Pisces conjunct the tail of the swan, this early spiritual. And if you think about Elvis Presley and Prince and Audrey Hepburn, you think of the troubles, the personal troubles they had, but they were also had incredibly distinguished honors and careers. Oh, Karen says such helpful information. Nice to see you, Karen. You're welcome. Thank you. You know, you think about Prince and Elvis Presley and Audrey Hepburn, you think about their some of the troubles they had, and they often this early Pisces energy gets they open themselves up psychically to people too much and can get taken advantage of, especially by family and or managers, that sort of thing, which happened with them. So, but that I wanted to mention there that they had the moon, not the sun. But still, again, this applies to, you know, every period applies to, even if you have a planet that's on that degree, even if you're not an actual sun in Pisces. For celebrities, we have the composer Handel, and of course he had, you know, he had a group of music called Water Music, which I've listened to a lot, and obviously very, very Piscean. Um, and I can't remember, I looked his chart up, but I can't remember what his Neptune was in back in the day. But it's very important when you look at composers and musicians that came from a much simpler time. It's really important to look at that planet's sign, the ruling planet, and then their house, because that gives a lot of indication. Like I know there's like a lot of people that'll have a more mild sign like Virgo or Pisces, but then the ruling planet's like in Leo or something, and they're always like, you know, drawn to entertainment or self-expression, something like that. Howard Jones, he's a keyboard pop star from the 80s and 90s. He's now touring again. I think he just turned 70. And he had a song called Things That Can Only Get Better. And he was talking about all the kind of sadness in the world, and that if you embrace that, kind of like if you hit rock bottom, there's only one way to go up, or only one way to go, and that's up. But he always said, don't live your life in one day, and things can only get better. David Sylvian, he's one of my favorite he's a more obscure musician. He's a British ambient musician, and he also had a new wave rock group called Japan from the 70s and 80s. Beautiful, beautiful instrumental ambient music, really, really good for any kind of Reiki or meditation or anything like that. If you, it's got this kind of quiet, active quality about it, but it's very, very good. We have Jonathan Cain. I know I mention him every year. Jonathan Cain is the keyboardist from Journey, and so for those songs like "Don't Stop Believin'," "Send Her My Love," "Faithfully," "Open Arms," all those little piano riffs, that's Jonathan Cain. And he put the beautiful magic Pisces sauce into a lot of those songs with Steve Perry. Neil Schon, also from Journey. So imagine that, the supergroup Journey with all those love songs and all that sentiment. Neil, the guitarist, Pisces; Jonathan Cain, co-writer, keyboardist, singer, Pisces, along with the Aquarius, Steve Perry, the singer. But so much Pisces energy, just amazing, amazing. Paul Humphreys, he's a British musician from a group called OMD, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, and also kind of ambient and obscure, and just very, very mysterious. That's another thing about Pisces music, is even if it's mainstream, there's just something more whimsical and special about Pisces that's unlike any other sign. And once you start to tap into it and you hear it, then you just know it's there. Marcus Lollington, he's an obscure keyboard player from a group called Breathe, also British. You know, you notice most of my choices are British. Very, very good, called Breathe, and they were big in the 80s and 90s, mostly in Britain. Roger Daltrey is the iconic lead singer of the folk rock group, supergroup The Who, from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and very, very intense guy. And he has said in interviews that he didn't get along with his band members when he felt that he had an idea for a song and they shot him down. And he said, well, this is how I'm feeling in the moment. I want to put this into a song. And they would say, no, that's not going to work. So it was his emotional state that he was trying to put into a song, and he felt hurt that they didn't honor that. Isn't that interesting? And then he said he would often get into fights with the band members because he didn't feel heard. It's very Pisces. Karen Carpenter, another incredibly, I know I mentioned her last year, what an amazing talent, but also very troubled with some of her disorders, and a lot of competition with her brother there. And poor Karen Carpenter. Dale Bozzio, pop rock songstress from the 80s, and she really influenced every major female singer that you know today. So Gwen Stefani, Lady Gaga, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Taylor Swift. Every it woman was influenced by Dale Bozzio and Madonna. Pretty much those two. Dale Bozzio and Madonna set the 70s and 80s glam, glamorous, strong-willed time for a woman to be empowered and strong-willed in pop. They did it. They did it in a very flamboyant way, and they paved the way for all these other women. So good for them. Chris Hughes is the last person. He is a English producer and musician, and he's been involved with Adam and the Ants, and also Tears for Fears, which I mentioned last week. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Adam and the Ants is Goody Two Shoes and things like that. That came again from the second new wave British invasion in the 70s and 80s, way after the Beatles' British invasion. Carolyn says, two great actresses, Liz Taylor and Joanne Woodward, both born February 27th. Yes, exactly. That's so funny you say that. I saw them in a book that I was reading today when I was doing research, and I didn't have space to put them on here. But yes, they're both born the same day. Imagine that. And they were both humanitarians, right, in different ways, and had that. Yeah. There's nothing like Pisces women. Pisces women. I haven't known many Pisces women in my life. In fact, I have a running joke with other astrologers that I've talked to about Pisces, and this goes back a long time. My running joke is, where the heck are the Pisces? Where are you? Where are they? And what I mean by that is, I never meet Pisces ever. And to this day, I was saying this 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I was saying this. Now I've lived all that time, and I've met people, and I've worked, and I've done readings, and I'm fairly social. And yet, ask me how many Pisces people I know right now that I could name, that I have any sort of contact with. I can think of two. And they're both family members. I know I have a friend. I have a friend whose son is a Pisces. He's young and he's a Pisces. But so where are you? So that's the running joke is, and that really sums up Pisces, because if you want to understand Pisces, use my joke, because Pisces, there's no sign like Pisces that hides under the reef. It's like you have your fish in the tank, and the fish goes behind. So that's what Pisces does. Pisces always hides. 12th house people hide. I know a lot of people friends and family that have major planets in their 12th house, and they all have a need for privacy and a strong creative imagination behind the scenes, even if they don't have Pisces planets. But if you have Pisces planets in your chart and you have 12th house, then you're really full on with the Pisces. But yeah, I don't know where the Pisces people are. And I think Pisces, for the most part, Pisces people go out of their way to not be seen and not get the attention. They don't necessarily want the attention. And here's another thing. Pisces people pick up on the subtle vibrations of people around them. So that can be both a good and a bad thing. Pisces can see the beauty and the love within you and your good qualities, but Pisces can also sense a shift. If you're a little off or you're feeling a little edgy or a little angry, Pisces can sense that and they might run for that. They just might run like a skittish cat. They might just go hide until the emotional weather is a little more. Pisces are always putting feelers out there in the environment to see if things are okay. Is the water warm? Is the water cold? Like, what's going on with the emotional weather? That's Pisces. And if you have something like Mars in Pisces, which is energy, your energy planet, your assertiveness and your will, you're going to do that in a very quiet way. You're going to be a master at reading the environment's weather, right? So not just the weather outside, but of your loved ones and your family and friends, and yourself. And you're going to know when you're feeling loving and social, and you know when you're going to be feeling a little down, and you need that space to recharge. So that's a big thing for Pisces. Is every Pisces planet needs a very strong. You need a strong period each week. You got to pencil in appointments for self-care to recharge. And for major Pisces people that don't recharge, that is a recipe for disaster, because the Pisces will just inevitably get overwhelmed with certain things, certain activities, certain events. And if you don't recharge from that, then you don't get back to back to zero. It can be a bit too much for Pisces. So those are the Pisces people. So again, this is the first decan of Pisces, which is all Neptune. So it's just pure water. But being the last sign of the zodiac and being the last water sign, the Pisces energy, it is, even if you know a Pisces that's an extrovert, there's a lot of their energy and their emotions, their real thoughts and emotions are hidden for the most part, and are only going to come out with people that they feel really, really comfortable with. Similar to Scorpio, a fellow water sign, and similar to Cancer. But because Pisces is the very last sign, and it's in the winter, and because it's the last sign, you take 12 signs and you're living a life that's 80 to 90 years, you're looking at an early Pisces that's almost equivalent to like an 80-year-old person, and has lived that long and has experienced the gamut of the highs and lows of life, and has experienced a lot of loss with family or friends, and may or may not be feeling more spiritual or youthful at that point in their lives of someone that's like around 80. That's how the early Pisces energy kind of comes out. So that's why Pisces is so soulful. That's why Pisces is the most soulful, I think, in my opinion, because there's just ancient wisdom there that's within Pisces from the whole zodiac. And Pisces is just like Aquarius in the sense that doesn't really matter how much formal education a Pisces person has. They're also going to have a knowingness about life in the universe like Aquarius, but it's going to be more psychic, it's going to be more emotional, and it's going to be a little more intense because it's water. So the water rides, the ebb and flow of the stream can be kind of turbulent and kind of stormy sometimes, that sort of thing. So I just want to remind everybody, Next week, the new moon, Pisces 227.25. The new moon just means the sun and moon are going to be conjunct in Pisces at 9 degrees. So for anyone that has a Pisces planet anywhere, if you have a Pisces planet like 8, 9, 10, or 11, your sun, the sun and moon in the sky are going to conjoin your Pisces planet wherever that is in your chart. So you have to find that in your chart. Now, a lot of astrologers are just doing, they're just doing the house system general readings. So like, you know, for like for an Aries, in general for Aries people, the new moon in Pisces falls in their 12th house. If you're using Aries on the first house, you go Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and so forth. And then Pisces would be on the 12th. So for like Aries people in general, the new moon's falling in your 12th house of hidden endings and hidden spirituality and things behind the scenes, and time for meditation and rest and recharge, secrets, sort of thing, and you know, that sort of thing. But if you're Libra, then you would have Aries over here on the house, and then Pisces would be, it would be happening in, for a Libra, it would be more related to their 6th house of health and service and hygiene, maybe pets, daily routine sort of thing. But you just have to find out where Pisces is, along with all this other. This is all the stellium. This is the stellium in Pisces here for next, for the new moon. Neptune, North Node, Mercury, and Saturn all in Pisces. That's not something we're going to experience anytime soon in the world in the coming decades. You know, Neptune is going to go into Aries soon, and it's going to be there till 2039. So 14 years. And then think about what has happened in the last 14 years from when 2011, when Neptune entered its own sign of Pisces. Think back to what was happening in your chart with Neptune at 0 of Pisces, you know, and where it was in your chart would be pretty soon when it's going to be, it's going to go, Neptune's going to go 29 of Pisces, and then boom, 0 of Aries. And then that Neptune's going to start to conjunct early Aries planets, which is going to make Aries people feel really foggy, I think, and feel kind of weird, but also creative. That will throw a monkey wrench into early Aries people. That should be very interesting. So, but yeah, all that, it's really mostly Pisces. We have the Mars retrograde in Cancer still, which tonight right here in Cancer. So we have a ways for that to go back stationary and finish out Cancer and go back to Leo and then eventually to Virgo. But Mars has taken a while. So our energy has been halted. A lot of the energy has been halted. But Jupiter and Gemini still moving forward. Uranus and Taurus moving forward. Pluto at 2 of Aquarius now moving forward. And the node in Pisces, that I just mentioned, along with Neptune, that is retrograde. So there's a little pause there. So we have a lot of water energy where there's pause with the water energy and emotional energy. So some people will like that. And some people, I think for people that don't have major water in their chart, it's not native for them to feel what it's like to have a water planet. So that could feel a little foreign, depending on where these transits fall in their chart, if they don't have certain water signs, but that sort of thing. But this is what astrologers have been talking about now for about 6 months, and it was really heating up around Christmas time. But yeah, all this Pisces energy, this is monumental. And like I said, that Neptune in the node at 28, that's cusp energy. It's almost Aries. You know, tonight is still technically cusp energy, but in a couple days, and then when we get to, so in about 9 days, we're going to be at about 11, 12 of Pisces conjuncting Mercury, and then it's coming right up on conjuncting Saturn as well. So even with all this Pisces energy, Pisces can be sort of fuzzy and not have clearly defined goals or actions. But when Mercury conjuncts Saturn, which it is, and the Sun's going to conjunct Saturn, that can give the Pisces energy a lot of structure and help them to be a little more serious. And it's funny because every time I look up highly accomplished people, either actors, writers, inventors, musicians, people that have accomplished a heck of a lot, there's a lot of creative energy in their charts, but there's almost always Saturn aspects. There's almost always some ties to Saturn that gives the person persistence and a direct line to using their energy in a structured, structured pattern, kind of like creating music, like be a good musician who needs that structure sort of thing. So, but thank you so much. Get ready for this new moon in Pisces. It's a spiritual one, and it's basically in the first decan. It is the first decan of Pisces, so it's all Neptune. So this sun and moon next week is all Neptune, and then it's all ruled by Neptune and Pisces. So it's like double and triple Neptune. So be careful if you do anything next week. Don't drink and drive. Don't smoke and drive. Seriously, that with all that Pisces energy, you have to be really careful. Carolyn says, great analysis of a very complex sign. Thank you. You're welcome. Yep. Pisces is very complex and in a lot of ways very hard to understand. And again, I want to talk to, if you're a Pisces or anyone in your family or friends that's a Pisces, please have them watch this live stream and comment to me. Comment to me why is it there's no Pisces around? And that says to me there are Pisces around, but Pisces people go to great lengths to hide the fact that they're Pisces. And are they doing that consciously or unconsciously? That's what I want to know. That's really interesting to me. But yeah, I've worked with a lot of different people. I don't hear people at work saying, "Hey, I'm a Pisces." No, "Hey, I'm a Leo." Yeah, you hear that. "Hey, I'm an Aries." Sure, but you don't generally hear people coming into a room and saying, "Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm a Pisces." I'm super sensitive, so sort of thing. But thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. I know a lot of people have been coming in and out. I think I'm going to keep this later time seems to be working more for the time zones. And I want to keep the engagement going and growing. So please like, comment, subscribe, and share. It really means a lot. And every little bit helps. The channel has been growing super slow this season. And I really got to kick it into gear for the spring. But we're just biding our time. It's still winter. It's okay. It's just a holding pattern. It doesn't mean things aren't moving. And but make sure to subscribe and share and everything. And I will have in the next week or two, I'll have a new Pisces video. And then next week we'll talk further about Pisces and kind of the post new moon and what's going on. All right. Any other comments, questions, or astrologically, please comment on this video, or you can even find my latest video and drop it there. Thanks so much. Have a great week. Be safe.